Pressure mounting as more Hollywood stars speak out against the lack of diversity in this year's Oscar nominations, including one of Tinseltown's biggest names, George Clooney, who's accusing the Academy Awards of moving in the wrong direction. The two-time Oscar winner has joined the crowd of growing voices, stars blasting the Oscars, all after 20 nominees in the acting categories were white for the second straight year. Academy President Cheryl Boone Isaacs vows to take action to, quote, alter the makeup of membership. And this year's host, actor, and comedian Chris Rock is under pressure to pull out. But the first African-American nominated for a Best Director Oscar seems to have a very different take on this. John Singleton, nominated for 1991's Boys in the Hood, says the nominations depend less on race than what's eligible in a given year's award cycle. He says, quote, there's only so many slots. It's all subjective. It's almost like the lottery, end quote. Our Hollywood person on the couch, Stacey, your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts are that the real issue is that there aren't enough opportunities for us people of color to have roles where it warrants us winning an Oscar. And then my second point of view is either you want to be segregated or you want to be integrated. And if you want to be integrated, then you don't need to have things like BET or the BET Awards or the Image Awards, where you have to be black in order to win these. Because if white people did that, everyone would be up in arms. So either you're going to become an American and just be an American, a part of society and a part of Hollywood, or you're going to separate it and deal with this kind of issue.
You know, it's interesting because some in Hollywood, and you remember the woman who played Aunt Viv alongside Will Smith in Fresh Prince? I think we've got a little bit from her. She pushed back in a totally different position and kind of almost landed the same place where you are, but she's saying there are bigger things to talk about. Can we watch that?
People are dying, our boys are being shot left and right, people are hungry, people are starving, people are trying to pay bills, and you talk about some actors in Oscars, and it just ain't that deep.
She specifically was talking to Jada Pinkett Smith, and there is kind of a long-standing rift between those two women, I mean, reportedly. But what she's saying there, Andrea, as I understand it, is there are bigger things that Hollywood should be focused on.
Maybe like the equal pay disparity with its women. Yeah. I mean, to Stacey's point, they seem like a bunch of big hypocrites. I mean, you hear the women speaking out saying we're not paid as much as the men, even though you see these liberals love to pat themselves on the back and think that they're so tolerant and open to women and to minorities. They're really not. And I would ask you, Stacey, whose fault is that? I mean, is it the studio's fault for not funding the movies? Are there ideas out there? Are there scripts? Are people not writing them? Are there not enough people of color writing these screenplays? I mean, where is the root of the problem?
The root of the problem is what I said, that there are not, the bar has been lowered because you've got this segregated thing where you've got black Hollywood and white Hollywood. You've got black movies and you've got movies. That has to stop. It has to stop. There is no need for a BET or a BET Awards or an Image Awards or an NAACP for that matter. We don't need it anymore.
You know what's also interesting? So I mentioned John Singleton, and he was quoted as saying his friend, Sidney Poitier, once told him that it depends on the year and that he never really got too caught up in the diversity of Hollywood because he knew it would kind of come out. I'm paraphrasing now what Singleton said, that he said kind of come out in the wash because some years you have more diversity, you have more opportunities for people of color in films, and he said quite frankly other years you don't.
Yeah, I think a lot of Americans are just tired of sort of this racial fetishism, and let the best man and best film in this case win. I do think it's funny, though, this is sort of ground zero of the Celebrate Diversity crowd. The Academy, 95% white, 77% dudes. Good job, Hollywood.
Academy headed by a black woman now, though.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering what the chances are. These are obviously very subjective awards. The chances are that this is going to be heavily influence the decisions next year and for many years following.
Of course.
And would you want that, Stacey? I mean, would you want awards based on pressure from actresses?
No, no. I'd want an award based on merit.
Yeah.
That's the point.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens. There are no indications that Chris Rock is not going to do his job as host this year.